Hello, and welcome to Beauty and the Gi, the podcast about grappling and life from the female perspective. I'm Jen Eads. I'm a white belt full of curiosity and questions about all things jiu-jitsu.
And I'm AJ Klingerman, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. And that's all I have.
That's enough for this podcast.
Okay, great.
In this episode, this is going to be a good one. This is about avoiding the funk. Not like the cool James Brown Parliament kind of funk, like the bad funk.
Right. More like everybody. Yeah. Wash your body. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind. Where do we even start with this episode?
Oh, man. Okay. So let's just talk about the hazards, right? Let's start with that. Let's start with the fear.
Oh, perfect. That's a great way to kick an episode off.
So, like a lot of, especially high school sports, that kind of stuff, like you think about wrestling or football, contact sports like that. There's a terrible amount of ringworm and staph and all those things that, are terrible and you want to avoid.
Yeah.
IBJJA has been open for over 19 years and we've never had an outbreak of staph.
Okay, that makes me feel good.
Yes. It's good to know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that nobody, like single person has, ever not, we've had people get it, but it's typically from going to a tournament or, training at an open mat somewhere else or, traveling or whatever. So, people still get it. They just can't train while they have it. That's an important thing. Actually, we had a former student that had moved out to I think Seattle or something, and he was training and he noticed a guy had ringworm in several places and that the coach didn't care. And he was like, yeah, I quit. He's like, if you don't care that he's training with ringworm everywhere, he's like, I can't train here. Yeah.
What are the signs of this stuff? So just if you see something that you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go train today.
Yeah. So ringworm itself is a circle. It is a circle. It just is kind of like a little broken out circle, usually with nothing in the middle of it. Okay. So it's not an actual worm.
It's good to know.
It's just a fungus basically.
Okay.
And then staph usually kind of almost looks like pimples. So that's something to look for. If you just have this weird random red bump that's kind of itchy, something like that. So then you want to steer clear of the mat and, get it checked out if you need to, that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
A couple important things here. Don't use antibacterial soap.
Why?
Antibacterial soap kills the good bacteria too. And that good bacteria is needed to fight off fungus.
Good to know.
Yes. Yeah. So that's antibacterial soap is a horrible thing. And I think they're actually trying to do away with it.
Really?
Yeah. I've heard that they're trying to do away with it altogether. So you want to use a antifungal soap. And a good cheap option is Head and Shoulders.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Head and
never would have
Shoulders.
guessed that.
Good antifungal. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But you could wash your whole body with it. So
I learn stuff every time.
Here we are. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Defense Soap. They don't sponsor me personally, just so you guys know. They've always been very supportive of our women's camp and everything. But I think they make incredible products. They make a great bar soap and gel soap. They make the pre-foam. They have a salve. So if you start to get a spot that looks kind of funky, you can put the salve on there. Or if you get cracked lips or something. I had a dermatologist tell me that something like 80% of staph comes from your nose. Yeah. And so he was telling me to put a little Neosporin in my nose every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But instead of that, I do the Defense salve.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice because it has a little tingle.
Oh.
So it kind of opens up your sinuses and everything too. But yeah, so I don't, I can't say for sure that helps keep the funk away, but it doesn't hurt. I'm always willing to do the things that, just in case. That's
right. Yeah. I'd rather be prepared.
Exactly. And then they, after training using Defense wipes, or they have a spray now. And they have it in even an ounce bottle or something so that you can take it on the plane, which is good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cause they wouldn't let me take my wipes on the plane.
What?
Yeah. it's so weird. Like the things that they sometimes tell you can't have. I'm like, but they're wipes. They're not liquid. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, so they made me get rid of those ones. So, but so then the little spray bottle, at least you can spray your body off if you're in a place that doesn't have a shower. So,
nice.
Yeah. So all the defense stuff I'm a big fan of. And then, let's see, HibaCleanse.
Okay.
Okay. So this is stuff that you find at like Walgreens or CVS. It's pink and it kind of like foams.
Okay.
This is
at what point do you need this? Is this like before or this is after?
This is still preventative, I think.
Okay.
So this is something like, our dermatologist that we work with used to work with Indiana Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He was their dermatologist. And so he's really good about like all of the things that you should be doing as like weekly or daily or whatever, whatever that looks like, just to keep preventative. So, I get a little obsessive, like I just want to make sure that I'm good. So I do all the things to try and keep from getting anything. But HibaCleanse, so you basically foam it up, put it all over your body, and you just let it sit on your body for a minute.
Okay.
So, whatever you want to do during that time, turn the water off, whatever. But so I try to do that once a week. And then anytime I compete or go train somewhere else, I'll do it that day too. So like at the Origin Immersion Camp, because there's 300 people there from everywhere, I did it every day there because I just wanted to make sure that, So I like the HibaCleanse.
And is that the one that you said no generic?
Yes, no generic. Yeah, you definitely want like that, or at least according to my dermatologist, you want the like actual stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And then like if you have a spot that you're not sure of, or that is like maybe just a cut or something that you worry about getting the funk in, iodine, like real iodine. It will stain your skin orange, but if it dries, it doesn't stain anything else. So you don't have to worry about it like getting on your clothes or anything.
Oh, that's good.
You just let it dry and it'll, your skin will be a little orange in that spot, but whatever, it's worth it. It'll kill anything. But he just told me if ever I got anything to put iodine on it, like 20 times a day. I don't know. That's an exaggeration, but like basically every time I thought about it, just to do it. And you want like the iodine tincture. You don't want I don't know. There's like a combo one that you can like spray on you. That's not the good stuff. You want the hardcore good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Something else we had on here that I think is probably pretty important is wash your gear after every session.
Gosh, yes, please wash your gear. Let me add that your belt is part of your gear and your belt does need washed. That's a huge controversy. Some people think that all of their knowledge is in their belt, which is dumb. Please wash your belt. It can get funky. It can spread the funk. Please wash your belt. But wash your gear after everything. So, I've heard a lot of people from other places say stuff like, "Oh, well, if I just drilled, then I won't wash my gear afterwards. It didn't get sweaty."
I don't think that really matters with what we're talking about.
I don't think so either. It's just like some trick people play on themselves. But my rule is if it touches you, it touches the mat, it touches, another person, it gets washed.
Yeah.
Every piece of equipment. Absolutely. Do not wear your gi without washing it again. Like even like, I teach morning class, I teach night class, I wear different gis. Like, I'm not putting that gi back on.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that you wash your gear after every single time you use it. Every time you put it on, wash it. So yeah. And the salt in your sweat breaks down the equipment. So your gi will actually last longer if you keep it clean. So
added bonus tip. Even more reason to wash it.
Wash your gi. I don't want to smell you before I'm even training with you.
Right.
I mean, aside from the fact that, like it can spread funk by not being clean, just the fact that you don't want to be the stinky person in class.
No.
You don't want to get that reputation.
No.
It's a bad thing to have.
I have enough that I'm worrying about.
Right.
That I don't want to be the stinky white belt.
No. And it always sucks if somebody comes up and like, hey, can you talk to that person? I don't think they wash their gi. And I'm like, man, yeah, I'll talk to them. I mean, that's my job, right? Like, but yeah, it sucks. Like, you don't ever want to have to tell somebody, hey, when did you wash that gi last? Like,
Right.
it kind of stinks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think on that note, we should probably head into our on and off the mat tips for this week.
Okay. What's our on the mat tip?
The on the mat tip is if you have concerns about the cleanliness of the mats in your gym, volunteer to clean them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I have been to gyms where I know the mats aren't being cleaned on a regular basis. And so, before class, like, hey, you want me to mop this real fast? Like, actually at Origin Camp, like, it's just long. It's busy. I don't know who was in charge of mopping, but there was one day we got back after lunch or something and the mats looked a little dirty. And James and I kicked all 200 people off the mats and him and I went through and mopped them real fast. And, I think that was pretty cool because like James was one of the head instructors at camp. So when they come in, these people are all like, okay, this black belt is cleaning the mats. And, so it's cool in that manner that they see that happening. Like we care about the cleanliness because we care about you. Like,
right.
That's important. We talked about that in a previous episode. Like when you go in, if the school isn't clean, then they don't care about your safety as much. But if you're already training at the gym and you just don't think the mats are being cleaned properly or often enough or whatever, volunteer to help. Like it's more important to me that I train on clean mats than it is, that somebody else is doing it. I would rather just step up and be like, yeah, I'll clean them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then off the mat, I'm going to say, wear your shoes off the mat.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. Wearing your shoes off the mats really in the bathroom.
Especially.
Please. Anytime you're not on the mat, you should have your shoes on, but especially in the bathroom, like people drip, even if you just wipe it up, like it's still there. Like, and then you step on the mat and my face goes on the mat. Like that's not what you want. There was a gym that, I had trained at fairly regularly and I started realizing nobody wore their shoes in the bathroom. And I was like, I don't know that I'll ever train here again. When I can't do that. That's so gross to me. At the ego, if we catch you in the bathroom without your shoes on, you're disqualified. Completely disqualified. Like you're done for the day. It's so gross. Wear your shoes in the bathroom. Wash your hands afterwards. James once in rules announced, be human, wash your hands. And it became like a saying amongst all my friends, like be human, wash your hands. But yeah. And there was another gym I went to and you took your shoes off at the door, which I've been to a few that are that way. And that's fine. That means they don't wear shoes in the whole gym. That's fine. One of those places had shoes outside the bathroom. Great. Then flip-flops outside the bathroom. Perfect.
Yeah.
The other didn't. And I was like, so I ran back to the door, got my shoes, took them in the bathroom. Like I would rather,
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to wear shoes in the bathroom. Such a good point. Great off the mat tip.
All right. Yay. All right. Thanks for spending time with us today. Make sure you share, like if you're going to share any episode, I think this is the one to share. Especially if the stinky kid needs to hear it, you can be like, hey, you should check out this podcast.
Totally check out this podcast.
And you can typically share the episode from Spotify, from your favorite podcasting app of choice. They usually have a little share button on there or a little arrow. Use that, send it to the stinky kid, and they will just think that you are hipping them to a really cool podcast. But start with this episode.
But after they hear the end, they might go, huh.
That's okay. That's okay if they figure it out on their own.
Right.
And it saves you the conversation.
Yes, that's true.
It's cool. So share this episode or this whole podcast with anyone that you think needs to hear it. And guess what? You can continue the conversations in this podcast with us over on Instagram at Beauty and the Gi Podcast. And you can also find me there at Brassy Broad Jen.
And me at AJ Klingerman.
So find us, connect with us. Ooh, and now we are also on Twitter at Beauty in the Gi. And we will see you on the mat.